go back home, meet their parents, which parents go to town and interact with strangers and also people that they meet every day. So looks like we are just creating a mesh whereby COVID is just going to find everyone. There was a proposal from some members of parliament that the government take it upon themselves to ensure that every Ugandan is tested before we go into a final phase of ensuring that everything is open and operational. Like if at all every Ugandan is tested, at least we can tell you know, who is sick and who is not sick, or more so it will be very easy for us to analyze that we can take back our students, our children to school.
The big question here is where are we going to get the money to test? We do not have the money to test, and the government and the country at large, we do not have the capacity to...
What happened to our donations?
I mean, it seems to be used up, though I think we need to be clearly given the expenditure, how this money was first spent and where it did go, because I do remember different governments and different organizations, including the World Bank, gave us some few donations to be helping us with this. But they say that the money that we were given, it did a lot in, of course, creating campaigns to make sure that people are well aware of COVID-19, plus, of course, getting some few test kits that, of course, we used to do some tests. So they said the money got done.
Okay, so let's go into the mass testing.
It's not possible.
Why not?
We do not have the capacity to do that.
You see, the government took it upon themselves to ensure that they can be able to distribute masks to everyone. We can be able to borrow money, but in the process of distribution of masks, you'll be surprised that no one thought of maybe thinking that we should also test these people before we even give them masks.
A mask is very different from a test kit. We are looking at something that's here that's taking about $100 or $200, only a test kit.
But you've seen the process of testing and the like.
Yes.
And you paid your money to be tested. Do you feel it's worth the amount?
And I remember when they were testing you, how you were opening up your mouth and...
yeah, because you told me they're going to push it through the nose, but it was a different story. But then, I am wondering, I think it would be very complicated for someone to go through the testing where probably they're going to use plasma or they're going to use blood, than the testing where they're just going to have to find any, any tissue or anything from your mouth, and they take it for testing, and then you have to pay 250,000 shillings. That's a lot of money. That's why I told you that government can be able to borrow money to make sure that there is this wall testing. But the bit where we give people masks and we don't even know their status is also just like, what were we doing?
I don't think they're taking this as a priority for the country right now, because they do think that, we can first get the signs of COVID, because remember, even when they were putting on this mandatory fee for everyone to get tested, they said that we won't be testing anyone. So whoever needs to be voluntarily tested, like I'm here and I'm not feeling so good and need to be tested, it will be costing us that money, about 250,000. But then again, they said that maybe the people who will be tested for free are the people who will be contacts and people who have been in direct contact with people with COVID-19. So meaning that the people are not being taken as a huge priority to do all these tests. And like we always say here, and Waha plus me always, we keep on saying this, that there are very many people right now who are sick but probably not tested in the country. Because you cannot tell me that at Namaganda, it's where they found the first community case in Namaganda Plaza, and you can't tell me that only one person right there just managed to get that virus during that day, and then later on they found another case still in town, and then no test was conducted.
So in your mind, as we go for the opening of schools, how should we handle this situation? I told you, to me it's a puzzle. If you're having young ones come through, if they're going into a boarding school, I think that's much more easy, because it will be, as long as the teachers are not walking, and we can have the young ones as they come through, probably be tested and like before, or also show their results that they've been tested and like, because all of them are coming into one single area. But then we do have day school where they move in and out. But COVID is still here. We can't deny this is going to happen. One government mentioned that they cannot use border borders, they can't use public transport and the like. It's like saying that the day schools will not be opening, because not everyone can be able to afford to pay for students to be in boarding schools. There's a reason why they are day scholars. So How are we going to go about this on a parting shot?
In my own opinion, first of all, the schools wouldn't have been open. Really, this was a huge mistake. But okay, they are now open. Because if you look at even the developed countries, look at the UK, look at countries in the US, these people have not opened up schools. And they first got coronavirus in the first place. And, you know, they have mastered how to manage it. And they've gone through several stages. But we are nowhere. And we are still forcing schools to be open. In my own opinion, they wouldn't have been open. But okay, we go for the school opening. If you look at budgets which are always approved, look at the budget, for example, for the State House. They have released even budgets on an emergency case. And I would wonder why they cannot even approve the money that would be helping these people in for example, maintaining pupils and other students to stay in boarding schools. I mean, this would help a little bit because if they're kept in one place, and you remember what they did with prisons first. Prisoners were in prison, and of course the people from the prison service were not allowed to go home for the first time. So it would have been the same way, to be kept in one place. But now commuting back and forth really is going to pose a very huge risk. And without posing it, because these things of having masks on and what, they are helping just a little. So you do expect that there will be a sporadic outbreak if we just go on with this. If maybe one student manages to go with COVID-19 at school, it will be so hard to contain.
Well, a friend told me that, look at, this is he's an advocate for school reopening, and he said that it's okay, schools should be reopening, and a parent shouldn't take an excuse and say that they do not have money for school fees. And I told him, that's daft of you to speak. You can't say that because you don't represent parents and you don't know what's in their homes. Because everyone is going through a season that you cannot exactly interpret in a certain way. And then we continued the conversation and said that, Shawn, there's a possibility by the time you're saying there's going to be a reopening, they should reopen schools next year and register this as a dead year, there's a possibility COVID will still be there. My point was very clear. Then government has enough time to plan.
Exactly.
That's it.
I mean, why are we rushing here? We do not have candidates. We have candidates right now. But again, next year or the other academic year, we do not have the candidates. I mean, probably they're going to be automatically promoted. And we have a very short time for these people to qualify for the next levels of their lives. If you're looking at someone who is studying a doctorate right now and they're doing their diploma and they're about to do their degree maybe in the coming academic year, these people will go half-baked wherever they are moving on to. So I do not see the rush why we were forced to do this, but we've done it. We must find means to contain it.
Paul Collins, thank you very much. Time is not on our side, but one word, one sentence. I'll be asking this, I'll be throwing this to Wahab about Alhaji Santege Sebagala. One word for him.
To me, I think he was a leader for the people because he knew how to connect with the local people. And what I love, whenever you're going to interview him and you start, so sir, you've been in this government for, he'll be like, I prefer we use Luganda. So he knew how to go to connect with the local people.
I'll never forget when President Yoram Museveni, of all people, when the NRM went for their delegates conference, President Yoram Museveni called Hajna Santege Sebagala to give him a keynote speech. And he did not even ask him Bojakwagera Luganda. It was automatic. Every speech has been in English, so take the floor.
Exactly.
He went on the floor,
so
and he left them in stitches.
He gave us a life to live on, not feeling shy about who you are. And he really wanted to do this, and he was confident about this. He wouldn't, mince his words on that. He would tell you directly, let us use Luganda. So that gives you a huge picture that, of course, including our cultures, where we come from and who we are, that we should remain who we are and live within our own means.
You see, I was reading a little bit about Hajna Santege Sebagala. Them days is one of the few individuals that you can hear someone mention that, oh, by the way, I met Governor Cohen. Like I met Governor Cohen. How? And when he met Governor Cohen, that is way back then. If at all he was not really well pronounced in the English language today, probably something that he did for fun. At a point I was like, no, this man is confusing us. He knows how to speak English. Which language did he use with Cohen, if at all he was interacting with Cohen?
English.
Yeah. So at that age, and the age by the time he died, his English wasn't coming through, and he had to go back to school still to patch it up when he was around here in the days that we were calling him Saya. Days of Cohen, with their English that they were speaking as British, what were they talking about?
You know, the funny thing is these people from Britain and also Americans, they know many of us do not know English so well. But you know, for us, we know we just know a lot of it.
So they feel like it's okay.
For them, there would be a very small difference between how Saya was speaking and the way I'm speaking right now.
Well, this morning, once again, thank you very much for staying with us. But I can agree that he was a great man. How people loved him, it's still a puzzle as well. Him coming through as a politician that moved from one place to another. I remember when he fell out with it was when he fell out with the NRM. That's when he created. No, when he fell out with the DP. That's when he created his own political party. I waited for the energy it was going to bring. I never saw that. And then, of course, becoming a presidential advisor
and
senior presidential advisor.
And one thing I know is he was very patient with life. He waited for Amin to fire the Indians and get himself the shops.
Yeah, he did that. And he's like it was quite a puzzle. It was quite a book to read. I believe someone somehow can be able, for people that do documentaries or write films, you can make a really good story out of a man who just decided to.
And actually, if it was possible, you'd have told me also another story of how he spent his cash. But you told me a huge story about that. But let us not say it today.
Well, this morning, kindly stay with us. We're just about to have a chat with Wahab before he gives us sports. I'm Shawn Paul Collins that joined me for Perspectives. Stay with us.